Good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies and gentlemen, all in crypto here, and welcome back, guys, for another daily cryptocurrency market update. It is quite a lackluster Sunday. There's not usually that much news on a Sunday. However, there's a lot of preparation for how the traditional markets are going to open on, or the futures market will open tonight. And then, of course, going into Monday, it's back to business. The casino is then open. So what we're going to do in this video, guys, is we're just going to really go over things. We're going to go over a number of really interesting things happening right now. Like, for example, Bank of America just announced it will provide free, fully insured cold storage Bitcoin custody services to its customers who have checking accounts. Isn't that interesting? We see this crusade, and we've always said there's a bullish undertone to this crusade on crypto from a regulatory standpoint. And it's because, ultimately it's my belief, and maybe I'm wrong on it, maybe I'm not, that crypto, in order to get mass adopted in somewhere like the United States or the UK or most of Europe, has to be regulated in order for it to become mass adopted. The US, they've got, waged wars on less, are not going to allow this to exist without their say-so, essentially. And it could exist without it, but just to any sort of, major scale. They won't allow it to get too big without them regulating. And this is why we've actually said, with what the SEC is doing, it's quite bullish. Although the SEC haven't got a clue what they're doing. We've now seen the CFTC go after Binance. It's very interesting, but this is some pretty significant news. I'll also be bringing up the fact that Citi say mass adoption for crypto will be driven by CBDCs and tokenization. I think tokenization is going to... Everything will be tokenized, guys. Wells Fargo did a great article about this in 2022, where they spoke about the tokenization and this kind of concept of the internet of value. And this is the world that we're moving towards. And everything will be ran on blockchain because it's simply the perfect fit to do that. And then we'll go into a number of other news segments. I also want to spend a little bit of time talking about why this is just nothing short of scary. And we've spoken about this previously. It took 215 years for the US to add $7 trillion worth of debt. And they did the same thing in 27 months from March 2020 to June 2022. This is the end of the line for the US dollar. We've even seen France take deals in yuan and a real push towards ending the dollar hegemony. Now, how that all unfolds, the Art of War guy, I think one of his it's very famously quoted is that, an evil man will burn his city down before allowing it to pass into the hands of someone else. I can't help but feel like the US gonna do something similar to that. So we've got quite a bit to get into, even for a lackluster Sunday. This is the plan, guys. This is very much what we're following. I think Bitcoin's very much on its way to 35K. We've had this plan since down here, and ultimately, we're looking to take this market to the upside. Now, you're kind of stalling here. Very natural that you're going to stall at this point. You have got a little bit of volume. If you look at your volume by price, this was very thin volume that we said on this channel you'll retrace very quickly. You're stumbling here a little bit. However, it's actually rather healthy. You don't just want a chart that goes straight up, because the chances are it's coming straight back down. You want the structure to be formed. You want kind of pillars to be put in on the way up, so that you've got that structure to support you on the pullbacks. You could pull back into this zone here, whereas if it was just a thin bit of volume, you could just go straight through it. So it's not bad structure at all, I don't think. We're still very much set on continuation. You've got, I think it's the non-farm payroll on Friday. That's going to be the big one. This could see a bit of dollar weakness, actually, I think. But this is just resistance that you've run into here, and ultimately I think you're going to coil up and break through it. Whether you coil up and break through it through doing something like this just to run everyone out before getting it, or whether you just smash straight through it, is still to be seen. But this doesn't look like bad structure at all, actually. But quite often, or more often than not, you'll run all these, anyone that's got their stops here, before you take it to the upside. So I do think it's a matter of time before Bitcoin smashes through this. We've had a 35K target for a while now. It's a head and shoulders target. There's a number of other reasons why we think Bitcoin's going to 35K here. And I don't think that's where it tops out. I think risk is very much the flavor of the month again. And I think more broadly than that, you kind of should just long everything against the US dollar, because the US dollar is now in a death spiral, in my opinion, that we're actually seeing play out. It's like a last-ditched effort to buy value with dollars. And actually what we saw from central banks in 2022 was a record buying of things like gold. We've seen the likes of China, for example, dump a lot of US debt. And I think we're going to see this trend continue. And I think the US dollar and the US's power that's been granted to by the dollar, its days are numbered, if not up. The only thing it's kind of got because it's infected most other countries out there, there's this kind of mutually assured backing of the dollar, because they don't want their own currencies or countries to fail as a result of having so much dollar debt. So I don't think it will just be an overnight thing. However, I think we've seen a real acceleration with this 7 trillion. It's a scary, scary chart, guys, and it really to me just seems like a last-ditch effort. So we know where we think Bitcoin's going. I think you're just stalling here and ultimately looking for the upside. If you guys want to find out what I'm buying, where I'm buying, we've absolutely killed this market this year so far, and certainly last year. And we'll look to continue doing so. You can join the Patreon. There's a link in the description at the start of the month, so it's a great time to join. Current market cap is at 1.2 trillion, so we're doing very well. This is very interesting, isn't it? How we've got a lot of regulatory scrutiny at the moment, yet the Bank of America is announcing that they're going to provide fully insured cold storage for Bitcoin custody services to its customers. This is a trend we are seeing grow. Banks, it's my belief that all these institutions want to get on board with crypto, not necessarily because they believe in it, because they can make money from it. And ultimately, we're seeing this in real time with the likes of Bank of America. And this was something that we covered actually midweek from Citigroup. Citi says mass adoption of crypto will be driven by CBDCs and tokenization. Crypto is approaching a point of inflection, says analysts at Citi, pointing to the rise of tokenization and CBDCs around the world. This is very much the direction that we're moving in. It says Citi says the industry is finally approaching an inflection point, and the blockchain technology will soon see billions of users and trillions of dollars in value. Absolutely, it will. Certainly, the vision that I have, and ultimately, we do cover the short-term journey, but the long-term journey is very apparent. There's also something interesting that I was looking at. You guys know that we've always done lots of Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory analysis. It's a chart that I've had for years. If you go to my early videos, you can see this is something that I was using before we'd even formed this one or this one. We started the channel just before the March 2020 crash and kept people in the market for it. Or for certainly the upside that we saw after that. This again was another crypto's done moment, only for it to be one of the very catalyst that propel crypto to the upside. Are we just following this 4-year cycle theory? If this is your 1, where you're now on your 2, 3, 4, are we seeing a similar thing take place? Potentially, but that's for another video. US crackdown will push center of gravity to Hong Kong, Keiko's CEO says. So Hong Kong looking to allow Bitcoin or Ethereum and Bitcoin. I think it's specified on a couple of others. I do very much think that US being the US, having this kind of arrogance to them because of who they are, they're doing a lot more damage than good to their status in regards to a global technological leader. And it's sad to see, really, because you will just see people go elsewhere. We're already seeing that with the likes of Binance, the largest crypto exchange, and Binance very much has a target on their back because the US want them out so they can put someone that they control in. Elon Musk slams heavy-handed Fed as ex-BitMEX CEO sees £1 million Bitcoin price. So we're getting all these crazy targets again. However, I do think Bitcoin, if I'm saying the dollar's done, but if Bitcoin's $1 million, what's the price of a used car or a loaf of bread? Or it's a real sad thing that's going on. As good as it is for people like myself that hedge against this, and that ultimately are on the other team, the crypto team. It's sad because ultimately every normal day people, including myself, we get paid in fiat, right? And that fiat is just being totally manipulated, devalued. It's the very tool that's used to enslave you, and actually not just enslave you, keep you a slave. Because you know, how can you have a store of value that compounds against you year on year and is controlled by the very people that don't want you to get to a status where you know, you've got that financial freedom? It's not just that. I mean, you've seen Biden's planning on upping tax. They're also doing the same thing in the UK. High inflation, devaluing currency, and now higher taxes. What are you doing? You know, the West, look at the UK and look at the US, right? They are complete clown worlds. And I'm a UK citizen, right? And it's a shame, it's sad to see. They're complete clown worlds right now. Look at everything that's going on, not just from a monetary point of view. Generally, look at the societies in the US and the UK. It's crazy how fast things have escalated, and where we kind of are now in opposition with, you know, 10 years ago. But anyway, that's potentially for another video. So Amazon NFT marketplace could feature Beeple, Pudgy, penguins, and more. Again, Amazon are very much planning on releasing this NFT marketplace. I think NFTs are going to be huge and actually could be a big part of transferring value. You know, if you have an NFT to represent something and that's value on it, this could be part of tokenization. This chart, again, is just scary, guys, because you can see this is really excelling to a rate where, I mean, you know, what does this mean for everything? Well, it means that your fiat system, your store of value, is hyperinflating in real time, yet, you know, because of the CPI and things like this, you're not quite seeing it. But in actual fact, if there are, take gold, for example, right? If there's, I think they say, one Olympic swimming pool worth of gold above ground, and then you introduce another two, well, is that gold now worth 1/3 of the value? Well, it really depends on the demand. So there's a it's not just as simple as that. However, there's still, you know, triple the amount of gold in circulation. So what does that mean for your one swimming pool's worth of gold? You know, it gets devalued as a result of this, and this is what we're seeing, and this is affecting everybody. And this is kind of why, like, just longing everything that is against the dollar, obviously pick the best of the bunch, actually isn't such a bad plan, to be honest. And this is kind of Bilagi's whole thing, and I think Bilagi's right. He's just very early. But I've rambled on for long enough. You know, we're just kind of following a similar thing to what we did in 2018, 2019, 2020. Does that mean we have this kind of crash potentially? But does that crash occur when we're up here? You know, it doesn't have to do that. It could do something like this. Could be very sharp and steep, and then just, you know, recover very fast in this kind of a manner. This is all scenario forecasting and the things that we'll keep you up to date on. That's all I've got for you in this video, guys. If you enjoyed the content, like, as always, appreciate it. Tons of comment, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you in the next.